So in the first episode that we get to work here, we're going to focus on the important stuff that really what the truck needed. We're going to focus on brakes. The brakes were horrible. The suspension was really bad. The steering was really sloppy. And also, of course, the tires. The tires were terrible. They were not even round, I don't think. They were sitting for a long time. So this thing really hadn't received much attention from the owner. It was just driven around. So we figured those are the big safety items that we need to focus. For the suspension stuff, all the ball joints and everything, and the brakes, we went to TRW. TRW makes amazing stuff. It's all OEM spec. You got to be careful because when so many of these companies make products, especially for common vehicles like this truck, so got to stay away from these no-name brand stuff. Got to stay with the name brand stuff, and none better than TRW. And as we found out, everything fit perfectly, which was awesome, and they have a huge selection, so can't go wrong there. But anyway, let's get to work, and you'll see what we did.
So of course we started off by jacking the truck safely and taking off all the wheels, the tires, and checking, starting the brakes, taking them all apart. Vehicles like this, old stuff, it's always a game because you never know what you're going to find. You always find these surprises, and of course in a truck like this that was sitting in a farm, driven around, never having been on the street in 10-15 years or so, you can see all the crud and stuff that was taped on the calipers. It was a mess, and we found this all over the truck. Fortunately, there was no rust or anything, but it was just a mess, and everything needed to be cleaned up. So we had to take all this stuff apart and do inspection to see how everything was. The rotors looked to be in pretty good shape, so we were lucky there. But the pads, as you'll see here, the pads were worn out on one side and not as much on the other side, which, upon further investigation, we found that the caliper actually basically the caliper sliders were frozen. So instead of all those things, instead of messing around and trying to rebuild everything, we decided to put brand new calipers on both axles just to play it safe. The pads are these TRW pads. You can see the first thing, of course, we always do is make sure they're the right replacement shape and they match. These are so nice. They come with all the hardware that you find that you need. It's all included. It's got a nice easy box. The part number, as you see here, is zoom in so you can see it. It's TRM0824, but you have to be careful because these trucks, there's so many different configurations of these trucks. So but once we got the new calipers on and we had the rotors and everything, it was pretty easy after that. Just put everything in and put the new hardware in and then go and you can start the assembly. We made sure we looped everything right. Tighten everything down nicely so that it's good for another 40,000 miles or so, depending on our usage. And after this test, hopefully we'll have great brakes and we won't have to worry about the brakes anymore. One thing that you should know is if you had a brake pad job, is to make sure you get the brakes in after you're done. You can clean the brake rotor with some brake clean, just to make sure there's no, you don't leave any grease or fingers or places like that on the rotors. Grease does not work well on brakes. So next, after that, we moved on to the suspension. As you can see, everything in the suspension was very old, very worn out. Steering had so much slop that we had to get rid of everything and start fresh, so we used our TRW pieces for that, just to make sure everything is back to where it was originally from the factory in 1999. And again, TRW stuff was so nice because it bolted on just like the factory pieces. And you know what? It worked, and it made it look like we got everything brand new from 1999. Same with the shocks. Took off the old shocks. Fortunately, on the F250, at least on the two-wheel drive model like ours, really easy. Everything was just plenty of room. Shocks down really easy. You don't need a spring compressor. It's not a McPherson strut, so made it easy. The old shocks actually weren't in that bad of a shape, but there were not that many miles on it. It was just new ones, so fantastic. The part number here is 4430S. These things were, again, they fit like factory. They're OEM replacement. Comes with everything you need, bushings, things like that, and they bolt right in. So our goal wasn't really to make this into anything special, to make this truck super racing or anything like that. The goal was to make it so that it drives like original when it did back in 1999 when it rolled off the showroom floor. And so we wanted to make sure it's brand new and clean. And so the shocks were easy. We also replaced the linkage for the sway bar. We were talking about putting a different sway bar out of a different model in, but we decided, you know what? It's not a race truck. We don't need bigger sway bars. It's not like we're gonna need to reduce understeer or anything in this thing. So it's fine the way it is. So replaced all those things. The steering geometry, everything had to be replaced, and so we took care of business there. Again, all TRW suspension components worked fantastic for the repair. The steering, as you see here, was it's a lot of work to get everything lined up properly, and but once you do, you get all the ball joints in, and then you have to make sure you grease everything. On these trucks, everything is very heavy duty. It's not sports car material, but it's very heavy duty, and once you do, then everything seems to work much better. And then after that, it's time for alignment. And once you align it, it actually worked out really well because we were happy with the results. It looked really sharp, and our numbers were fantastic too. So everything fit perfectly. And you could tell without even driving the truck, just rolling around on the alignment rack, you could see how much less play you had, and we were really happy with the numbers. Next up, it was for the most important part, the Continental's Terrain Contact AT all-terrain tires. These were fantastic, our number one choice always. We use a stock 265/75/16. These things are fantastic. They are very quiet. This is what we had before, and of course now this is what we have now. They're all-terrain, they're quiet, smooth, have good fuel economy, provide great grip, everything you really want in a truck tire. They're fantastic, and we just couldn't stop loving them. These things are just made a huge improvement, probably the biggest improvement in overall.
So thanks very much for watching. We certainly enjoyed putting those TRW products in, and as you saw, those Continental tires, oh man, what a difference. It's just unbelievable night and day difference driving on good tires. But the number one lesson we learned from all this stuff is always good for good quality stuff. Don't skimp, especially on things that involve your brakes, your suspension, your tires, because that's major safety stuff that can really save your day, really, when it comes down to it, because you really don't want to skimp on things like that involve safety. So if you liked it, please make sure you like us below and you subscribe. That'll really help us out. And watch for the next episode. We're still not done yet by any means. There's so much more work to do on this thing, but slowly we're gonna go at this thing to make sure this thing behaves like a nice truck and will last us a long time. So thank you very much for watching, and see you next time.